Hello, everyone! Today we are walking through a busy street, somewhere familiar, but it feels different this time. You're surrounded by chatter, car horns, footsteps, music from an open store window, and a breeze that smells faintly of coffee. But what's strange is this. You're not just hearing the noise, you're catching pieces of conversation in English. It's not all crystal clear, but some words just click. Like, hey, how's it going? Like, let's grab a bite. Like, I'll be right there. And for a second, just a second, you realize something surprising. You understand more than you thought. That's where we begin. You might be good at English if you listen to this video. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you really like what I do here. Also, post your location and local time in the comments. I'd love to know where you're tuning in from. Now, let's focus. Let's start our next journey together. You walk past a bakery. The sign says Fresh Buns Daily, and for some reason it makes you laugh. Not because it's a joke, but because now you understand why it could be. That's the magic of starting. Learning English is less about memorizing rules and more about noticing what's already all around you. And that's what this podcast is for, to tune your brain like a radio until English stops being foreign and starts being yours. The very first step? Not speaking, not reading, just noticing. Today, you noticed real people talking, and without a dictionary, without pausing, without even thinking, you got it. That's the muscle we're training today. You might not realize it, but your brain already speaks a lot of English. You've seen enough TikToks, listened to enough background music, watched enough series with half attention while eating noodles. And that's exactly how babies learn. Exposure. So why fight it? Let me share a truth for English beginners. How you learn English easily is by listening before you speak. That's what makes this podcast different. I'm not here to teach grammar rules in a boring way. I'm here to walk next to you, wherever you are, and point out the English you're already surrounded by. Let's play a mini game. Imagine you're at an airport. You're sitting at your gate. Around you, 3 conversations are happening in English. One woman is on the phone. No, I told him already. If he's not there by 5, I'm leaving. A guy nearby is laughing with a friend. Dude, you packed your charger, right? Because last time you didn't and it was a disaster. And a child asks her mom, are we flying today or tomorrow? Without knowing every word, you still get the meaning. Why? Because tone, rhythm, and key words carry most of the weight. And here's your memorable English word for today. Charger, not just because it's useful, but because it always comes up in real life, especially when you're traveling. Next time you're packing a bag, say it aloud. Got my charger. Easy win, locked in forever. But it's not just about vocabulary. It's about confidence. Confidence in English doesn't come from knowing all the words. It comes from realizing you know enough to survive the moment. And confidence builds momentum. So let's take this further. When you watch a Netflix show, don't just follow the subtitles. Pick one phrase that stood out. Maybe someone said, "You've gotta be kidding me." That's a native rhythm, a reaction phrase. Mimic it. Say it while brushing your teeth. Say it when your food delivery is late. These phrases are sticky. The more you use them, the more natural they become. Also, here's a tip. English doesn't live in your notebook. It lives in your ears. Don't get me wrong, writing stuff down helps. But hearing it, feeling it, and connecting it to real life is the glue. That's what makes it stay. And don't be afraid to enjoy it. The more fun you're having, the more likely you'll stick with it. Listen to songs and try to guess the lyrics. Watch YouTube with English captions. Talk back to the podcast when I say something ridiculous. I can't hear you, but your brain will remember. Remember this phrase too. Beginner doesn't mean slow. Beginner means new. And new is powerful. New means fresh eyes. It means learning without ego. That's where the magic happens. One last thing today. Remember that funny Fresh Buns Daily sign? It's not just bread. It's a moment. A silly phrase that made you laugh. That's how English hooks into your brain. Learning English isn't just about passing exams or getting the perfect accent. It's about owning those small moments where the world speaks English and you speak back, even with a grin, even with mistakes. So today, let's celebrate that. You listened, you understood something, you noticed. That's not small. That's the first real step. You wake up early, too early. The room's quiet, and the light from your phone screen feels way too bright. You scroll, mind blank, until a video pops up. Someone speaking in English, telling a joke. You chuckle, not because the joke is that funny, but because you got it. That's your win for the day. Tiny, right? But it matters. Confidence in English isn't something you wait for, it's something you train, like a muscle. And you're already doing reps. Every time you watch a clip, every time you read a meme and laugh, every time you understand a bit more, that's training. You might not feel strong yet, but you're lifting. So here's the deal. You're not waiting to become fluent someday in the future. You're already moving. You're already building. Even this moment, listening to me, following along, is a tiny victory. Now let's talk about how confidence grows, not with big dramatic speeches, but with small wins, again and again. Remember this. How you learn English easily is by celebrating the small moments. One sentence, one word, one brave reply when someone asks, "How are you?" Let's zoom in on a regular scene. You're in a small shop. The cashier says, "Hi there, how's your day going?" You freeze, not because you don't know the words, but because your brain panics. Should I say fine or good? Wait, is not bad too negative? What if I sound weird? But you answer anyway. Pretty good, thanks. Boom, that's a win. You spoke. You were understood. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. Let that be your memorable English word today. Pretty. Not as in beautiful, but as in pretty good, pretty tired, pretty interesting. It's a softener, a natural native phrase, beginner-friendly and totally real-life useful. Try saying it out loud right now. Pretty busy. Pretty hungry. Pretty cool, right? Use it 3 times today. Make it yours. Confidence is like this. You build it by showing up, not by being perfect. Here's a truth I wish someone told me when I started learning a new language. The people who learn fastest are the ones who don't care about looking smart. They care about showing up. They say things wrong. They laugh it off. They get back up and speak again. So next time you feel nervous about using English, ask yourself, am I waiting to be perfect or am I here to grow? That shift will change everything. Now let's talk about mindset. Imagine a video game. Every time you speak in English, even just one sentence, you get XP, experience points. But you don't see that progress in real time. It's invisible. Until one day, it just clicks. You're in a conversation and you're not translating anymore. You're just speaking. That's when the muscle shows. But don't wait for that day to feel like you've made it. Feel it now, with every little win. Because here's another tip for English learners. It's okay to use the same sentences again and again. Repetition isn't failure, it's training. If you always say, "Hi, how are you?" "I'm good, thanks. Nice to meet you." That's great. Use those phrases until you're bored of them. That's how they become automatic. Then you'll want to add more. Let me tell you a quick story. There was a woman I met while traveling who barely spoke English. She knew maybe 20 sentences, but she used them confidently all day. At a cafe, she'd say, "This is my favorite place. I come here, always." Technically not perfect, but her smile and her tone made it land. When someone complimented her English, she grinned and said, "Yes, I practice every day. With people, you help me." That confidence, that energy, that's what makes English work in real life. So, what's stopping you? Here's your daily challenge. Speak one sentence out loud today, even if no one hears it, even if you say it into your bathroom mirror, even if it's just, "I'm learning English. I'm doing my best." Say it again. I'm learning English. I'm doing my best. You are, and it shows. Before we wrap up today's section, let's do a quick check-in. Have you smiled yet? Have you said anything out loud? Have you remembered a phrase from earlier? If so, great. That's progress. And if not, hey, no stress. This podcast isn't about pressure. It's about presence. You showed up. That's huge. One last thing before I go. Try this phrase out today. It's your bonus English for the road. I'm still learning. Simple, humble, and powerful. Because when someone hears you say that, they usually reply, me too. You walk into your favorite cafe, the same one where the barista never remembers your name, but always remembers your order. Today, something feels different. You've made a promise to say one full sentence in English, out loud, to a real person. Your heart beats a little faster. You rehearse in your head. Hi, I'd like a small latte, please. Sounds simple, right? But right now, it feels like giving a TED Talk. Still, you step up. You smile. You speak. And the barista? She just smiles back and says, sure, one small latte coming right up. Boom, you did it. You just used English in the wild. No textbook, no app. Just you, your voice, and real human interaction. That's today's lesson. Small conversations are big victories. You don't need a classroom to learn English. You need a moment, a reason, a little courage, and maybe a craving for coffee. Let's make this real. Here's your introductory phrase for beginners. How you learn English easily is by using it in small, daily moments. Not in long speeches, not in interviews, just ordering, asking, replying. In the cafe, at the grocery store, in your own home. You don't even need a native speaker. You just need a reason to speak. Let's pause here and learn today's memorable English word, latte. Now, maybe you don't drink coffee. That's fine. But here's why this word is gold. It shows up in real life. It's on menus. It's in conversations. It's in memes. It also opens doors to other words like to go or for here. Whipped cream? Do you want sugar? These are the phrases that give you real practice. Next time you're in a cafe or watching a movie with a coffee scene, notice how people order. Copy their tone. Practice with a cup in your hand. Act like it's real, because soon it will be. Now, let's talk about speaking with strangers. Scary? Yes. Useful? Also yes. Actually, talking to strangers is one of the fastest ways to grow your English confidence and your human connection skills. Let's break it down. It's low commitment. You're not building a relationship. You're just saying a sentence. It's real-life English. No filters, no scripts. It's usually kind. Most people want to help you if they know you're learning. Try this next time you're out. Excuse me, do you know where the nearest bus stop is? It doesn't matter if you understand the whole reply. Just asking is progress. It's English in action. You might be wondering, but what if I make a mistake? Let me tell you a secret. The best English learners, they make mistakes on purpose. Why? Because mistakes get attention. Mistakes spark conversation. Mistakes are memorable. Imagine saying, I want a large chicken with milk. The person helping you might laugh, gently correct you. You mean coffee with milk. You both smile, and boom, that phrase is now burned into your brain forever. Mistakes are magic. Another great tool? Role play. Pretend you're in a restaurant. Practice both sides of the conversation. Good evening. Table for one, please. Right this way. Would you like to see the menu? Act it out loud. Don't just read it, live it. And here's a golden phrase to practice right now. Can I have? It works for everything. Can I have a pen? Can I have the bill? Can I have 1 minute? Say it until it's part of your reflex, your go-to English. Now, here's your beginner tip of the day. Record yourself speaking English, even one sentence. Why? Because when you hear yourself, 3 things happen. You notice how much you already know. You catch things you want to improve. You own your voice in English. Your voice might sound weird to you at first. That's normal. Even native speakers hate how they sound on recordings. But stick with it, because speaking with confidence is about comfort, not perfection. Let's wrap up this section with a moment of reflection. Think back to the cafe. You walked in nervous. You spoke anyway, and someone responded. That's a full English exchange. That's huge. If you can do that, you can do anything. Now imagine stacking those moments. 1 sentence today, 1 joke tomorrow, 1 full conversation next week. This is how fluency is born. Not overnight, but 1 brave order at a time. The room is silent, except for the ticking of a clock. You're sitting there, replaying a conversation in your head. Not because it went perfectly, but because it didn't. You stumbled. You forgot a word. You said something weird like, "I very like pizza." And now your brain is doing that thing, replaying the moment over and over like a broken video. But here's the twist. That awkward moment, it's actually gold. Because today's lesson is this: mistakes are where your real English lives. You learn more from 1 embarrassing moment than from 100 pages of grammar notes. Why? Because you feel it, because it sticks, and because you never forget the lesson that came with the stumble. So today, we embrace that truth. You will mess up. You will say silly things. You will sound weird sometimes. But guess what? That's how fluent people are born. Let me start with this beginner-friendly reminder. How you learn English easily is by messing up loudly and learning from it. Not whispering, not hiding. Messing up loudly. In the middle of a real moment with real people. And those moments, they teach you the fastest. Because English isn't about being correct all the time. It's about communicating. If your message gets across, you're already winning. Let me share a story. You're on a bus. A tourist leans over and asks, "Do you know where this stop is?" You panic. You kind of know the answer, but the words are hiding. You blurt out, "Yes, you down here get." Silence. Then you laugh. The tourist laughs. You fix it. "Sorry, I mean, you get off here." Now, let's be honest. That sentence, not correct. But did it work? Yes. Did you learn something? Absolutely. And I promise you, next time someone says, "Get off the bus," your brain will shout, "I remember." Here's your memorable English word today, off. Simple, right? But it's one of the most useful prepositions in all of English. Try these. Turn off the light. Take it off. Get off work. Pull off a surprise. Say them aloud. Feel how off changes the meaning. Words like this are the building blocks. Tiny, but powerful. Let's talk about emotional memory. The brain remembers things linked to feelings. That's why mistakes stay with us. They're emotional. So instead of avoiding mistakes, start collecting them. Laugh about them, write them down, tell your friends. "You won't believe what I said today." That's not shame, that's storytelling. And every story makes you stronger. Here's a challenge for you today. Make 1 mistake on purpose. Yes, on purpose. Say something silly. Watch how people respond. 9 times out of 10, they won't laugh at you. They'll help you, they'll encourage you, and they'll probably admire your courage. Here's your mindset shift. Stop trying to be correct. Start trying to be understood. Start trying to connect. Remember this: Fluency doesn't mean perfect grammar. Fluency means flowing forward, even when it's messy. Think about toddlers. They speak with wild grammar, but they talk all day, and people understand them. They don't wait to be perfect. They learn while doing. So why should you be any different? Now, let's add a bonus phrase to your tool belt. Let me try again. That one's gold. Use it anytime you fumble. You say, wait, let me try again. He is going to the store. It's humble, it's confident, it tells people, I'm learning, but I'm showing up. That's real power. Also, stop apologizing so much. You're learning a new language. That's brave. That's badass. Say, thanks for helping me, instead of, sorry, my English is bad. See the shift? It's not about hiding. It's about owning your journey. Let's wrap up this part with one final challenge. Tell a 10-second story today, in English. It can be tiny. Yesterday, I lost my keys. I looked everywhere. They were in my bag. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It just has to be yours. Tell it to yourself, to a friend, to your dog. Out loud. Own it. And if you mess up a word, good. That means you're learning. So let's celebrate every slip, every stutter, every weird word combo. They're not failures. They're the signs you're doing the work. Because you're not just learning English, you're living it. And that's something no textbook can teach. It's late. You're brushing your teeth and your brain won't shut up. Suddenly, in the middle of foamy mouth chaos, it hits you. Did I just think in English? Wait, you rewind. Yes, you were planning your grocery list, and instead of thinking, "Mình cần mua trứng," you thought, I need to get eggs. And that, right there, that's a breakthrough. Today's chapter is all about that moment when the switch flips, when English isn't just something you study, but something you think in. Because thinking in English is the fastest shortcut to fluency. And the best part, you don't have to force it. You can train it, bit by bit. Let's make this simple. How you learn English easily is by slowly replacing thoughts in your native language with English ones. Sounds wild? Maybe, but you're already halfway there. Start with the basics. Every time you pick something up, name it in English. Phone, keys, wallet, umbrella. Oh, it's raining again. Then go deeper. Add verbs. I need my wallet. Where are my keys? I'll grab my phone. Don't worry if it feels slow at first. This isn't about speed. It's about repetition and association. That's how you rewire your internal monologue. Here's a cool little exercise I called the mirror talk. After brushing your teeth, look into the mirror and narrate your thoughts. In English, even simple ones. I look tired today. Tomorrow is Monday. Ugh, I hope I don't forget my charger again. Don't censor. Don't overthink. Just talk to yourself like a best friend. This is one of the most underrated fluency hacks of all time. Why? Because there's zero pressure, and your brain starts trusting your English thoughts more and more. Let's drop your memorable English word for today. Charger. Yup, we're circling back. You probably use one daily. Now say it aloud. Where's my charger? I forgot my charger. I need to charge my phone. Boom, it's in your head now. You didn't study it, you lived it. That's how vocabulary sticks, not by writing it down 20 times, but by connecting it to a need in your real life. Thinking in English also helps with confidence, because when your thoughts are in English, you stop translating. And when you stop translating, your speaking becomes faster, smoother, and more natural. Let's try this together. Next time you're walking somewhere, try narrating what you see, in English, even in your head. That guy is running. She looks happy. I need to buy milk. You're not practicing grammar, you're practicing flow. and flow is where fluency lives. Now here's your beginner-friendly secret. If you don't know how to say something in English, try saying it simpler. Example, you want to say, I'm exhausted because I pulled an all-nighter, but you forget exhausted. So say, I'm very tired. I didn't sleep last night. Same idea, still natural, still clear. Fluency isn't about knowing fancy words. It's about communicating with what you know and doing it smoothly. Let me tell you about a friend of mine. She's a tour guide in Vietnam. Her English, not perfect. Her vocabulary, basic. But man, can she communicate. She thinks in English when she speaks to tourists. She points, she gestures, she smiles, and they all understand her. Because she's not pausing to translate in her head. She's living in English. Her tip? I don't wait for the right word. I use my word. And people listen. That's power. Now for your challenge of the day. Narrate your morning routine, out loud or in your head, in English. I wake up, I brush my teeth, I check my phone. I don't want to get up, but I do. Say it with emotion. Make it yours. It doesn't matter how simple it is. It just matters that it's English, coming from you. Here's another tool, sticky notes. Put them around your house. Label things in English. Mirror, fridge, light switch, toilet paper. Why not? You'll start thinking in English by accident. Before we wrap this section, remember, thinking in English is not the final goal. It's the bridge, the place between learning and using. And guess what? If you're listening to this podcast and following along, you're already on that bridge. So keep walking, keep thinking, keep smiling to yourself when a random thought comes up in English. Because that voice in your head, it's getting fluent.